Welcome back. My name is Kelly.
And I'm Cardi.
This is Those History Twins. You should know that. You clicked on our video, so hopefully you know that.
And if you don't know, if you're new here, or you just want me to tell you again, because I'm going to tell everyone all the time, we both have master's degrees in ancient and medieval European history, and so we are qualified to speak on any topic we so choose. Yeah, I mean, maybe we didn't specifically learn that in college, but I know the technique and ideas and how to do a scientific or historical research, so I'm qualified for most things.
Yeah. Right. So, we're going to jump right into it. This is my week. This week we are doing, okay, so here's the background story. I read a book recently about the Romanov sisters, the four sisters, Anastasia and all of them. And then I was like, I've been on a Russia kick. So we're learning about the Romanovs, the kind of like what happened to Anastasia. Did she survive? Did she sneak out like the movie from the 90s? So I think it's going to be really interesting. Anyway,
That's a great movie.
Oh, gosh, I know. The animated one, the DreamWorks one, I'm sure you've seen it. It's so good.
Does not get enough love.
Yeah. I will post a picture of, or like put a picture in of the book that I read that got me started on this. And then I watched a couple documentaries on YouTube, so I'll link those too. But, okay. So the Romanov family ruled Russia for about 300 years. So,
God, that's a long time for one family.
Yeah. So from 1613, around there, ending in 1917, the Romanov leaders included people like Peter the Great, Catherine the Great, and the dynasty ended with Nicholas II.
Okay.
Wait,
you said it started with who?
It didn't start with Peter the Great. I'm pretty sure his name was Michael, or whatever, Mikhail, or whatever the Russian equivalent of Michael is. I think he was the first one, but like the important ones, like the most famous ones, are Peter the Great, Catherine the Great.
Oh, but they are Romanovs.
Yeah, they're Romanovs.
Well, Catherine is it.
Well, Catherine, which I read a book about her recently too. It was so freaking long. She was a German.
This one? Oh, there's one in here.
Oh, it's right there.
Right here, yeah.
No, it wasn't that one. She was a German princess
Prussian.
or something. No, she was from Germany.
Yeah, but it was
It
Prussian.
wasn't. They
She was
kept
a
calling
Prussian
her.
queen.
Yeah, they kept calling her a German queen in the book.
Yeah, but at the time it was Prussia.
At the time, she was from. I don't know where she was from, but she was from somewhere. I haven't read this one, but anyway, she was from a German town or something. Yeah, you do that. Catherine the Great was, but that's neither here nor there. So Nicholas II was the last Romanov Tsar, and he resigned, or he abdicated his throne in 1917. So in 1917 began the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, and the Tsar and his family were executed. So we're going to go back to the beginning and see what happened before they were executed. So Nicholas II ruled from...
While she was born in Prussia, she actually was part of a minor principality in
Germany.
We were both right.
Okay. So, Nicholas II ruled from 1894 to 1917. He was forced to abdicate the throne, and he was forced to abdicate the throne for his son. So he had to abdicate for both of them, even though his son wasn't actually technically...
Go back to why?
I'll get to it. It's because of the Bolshevik Revolution. So Nicholas was not super popular as the Tsar. He was viewed as weak and indecisive. His reign saw a lot of unrest. Like there was the Russo-Japanese War that didn't turn out very well for them. And then there was a workers' uprising, and World War I were all in his reign. And people were like, you are not handling this well. You suck at ruling. People thought that he handled it poorly. So in 1984, I wish I could do that so bad. I need to go to the chiropractor so bad.
I can only do it on that side, and I need it on this side.
I can't crack my neck. Anyway, in 1984, not 1984. Oh, fuck. Now I don't know if it was...
It had to be 18.
Okay.
In Bolshevik Revolution,
well, yeah,
but
I'm
like,
was it 1884 or 1984? Anyway, I think it was 1894, because that's what I had earlier in here. So, dates aren't real.
Look them up.
In 1894, oh good grief, Nicholas married Alex of Hesse, which is a small German duchy. Alex took the name Alexandra.
Hessian boots.
Yes. Alex took the name Alexandra when she got married to be more Russian.
Oh, so her name was Alex?
Her name was Alex.
Oh.
And then she became Alexandra when she married the Tsar so that she would be more Russian.
That's why Catherine named her.
Yeah, that's why Catherine.
Sophia.
Yeah, her name was Sophia, but she took the name Catherine. Well, Ekaterina.
Yeah.
Which is more Russian. So they got married, and Alex was the granddaughter of Queen Victoria of England.
Which Queen Victoria of England is called the grandmother of Europe because she had a bunch of kids, and all of those kids and their kids literally ruled everywhere. Like, her grandkids moved to, like, again, Russia. She's got some in France, Greece. She's got them all over.
So I'm hoping to do a video on Queen Victoria. I think it's going to take me some more time to put it together because I'd really like to dive deep and, like, do a really good job about it. So maybe a two-parter, or we'll see how much information I find. But I'd really like to take my time to do that because I think it's going to be really interesting. So I want to find some books to read.
She's so interesting. It's like when we do Catherine, or Queen Elizabeth.
It's going to take
Maybe you do Victoria and I'll do Catherine. I'll focus on doing Catherine. That way we can...
Yeah. I just got a book called... It's written by one of my favorite TikTokers. Her name is Susie Edge.
Oh, yeah.
It's called, like, The Mortal Monarchs, and it goes through the deaths of all of the English or British royalty, like kings and queens. So I'm very excited for that. I'm only on Henry the First, but I'm excited for that. Anyway, back to this. So she was Queen Victoria's granddaughter. They were very close. The two, so Nicholas and Alex were very much in love, and they really wanted to get a family. Like, they wanted to get going on starting a family. In 1895, Alexandra had their first child, Olga. The country was super upset that she was a girl, and
obviously
they were, like, pretty upset with Alex. They needed a male heir. So the way that Russia worked at the time, I think Nicholas's siblings, like his brothers, were next in line for the throne. I'm not super iffy because they had a little bit different ruling structure, I think, and then eventually Nicholas changed this line of succession. I'm not super sure, but they wanted a male heir that wasn't a brother. So they had Olga. Nicholas and Alexandra were happy. They were just happy to have kids. They didn't care if it was a boy or a girl. They were just happy to start their family. And he even wrote in his diary, like, I don't care what everyone says. I'm so happy. So then Alexandra had a miscarriage a few months after Olga was born. And I'm not sure if they had announced her pregnancy or if it was like a secret thing, but... So she had a miscarriage, and then in 1897, they had their second child, who was also a daughter, and they named her Tatiana. So the country, again, and apparently they, like, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't know if they shoot off guns or something. They sound bells, but, like, the boys get, like, 1,000 bells when it's a boy, and the girls get, like, 300. So...
Okay, all of them sound too much, but...
Yeah. Anyway, so the country, again, was not impressed by having another girl. They're like, come on, dude. Like, we already hate you. Please get us a girl. Or a boy. So...
Like, the least you could do is get us a male heir.
Right. Alexandra was feeling a lot of pressure. And she was kind of she was kind of a sickly person.
Did she have
I don't
hemophilia?
know. She was a carrier, but I don't know if she had it. I don't think she had it. So, and we'll get to that in a minute. So then... The country, again, is, like, not happy, but Nicholas was overjoyed yet again. He's like, I'm so happy to have another daughter. Like, screw the country. I'm happy for a kid. Or a daughter. We're happy for any healthy baby. So then Alexandra was worried that this would make her even less popular with the country, because she wasn't well-liked either, because she was an outsider. She was very religious, and I think she was kind of stuffy. People thought that she was uptight. Her one job was to produce an heir, and at this point, in the eyes of the country, she had failed. Sorry, I have an eyelash or something. Cat hair, probably. So then in 1899, Alexandra gave birth to a third girl named Maria. And like, there was a lot of dismay from the country and from the other royal members of the family, like the aunts and uncles and brothers and all of that stuff. They were very unhappy as well. And they were starting to be like, come on, Alexandra, get your shit together.
Mm-hmm.
So then...
Her name is Alexandra, not Alexandria.
Alexandra.
Xandra, okay.
Yes. And then in 1901, Alexandra was pregnant again, and the nation was desperately hoping for a boy. And in June of that year, she gave birth to their fourth daughter, Anastasia. Probably the most...
Anastasia.
Well, whatever. She's probably the most famous Romanov child. She's like the missing princess, which we'll get to later. So then the need for an heir was rising, and everyone was like, come on, guys, we got to get our shit together. We got to have a male heir.
Which,
and
like, they have control over that.
Right.
Guys.
So without the male child, the heir, or the country would go to Nicholas's brother and uncles. One of his brothers had died at some time in between Alexandra's pregnancies, and the country was in panic mode at this time. They were like, we've got to... Because I don't think they liked his brothers and uncles any better than they liked Nicholas, so they're like, come on, we got to get a better guy in here.
And that better guy would be an infant.
A baby. So, in 1902, Alexandra had another miscarriage, and some of the royal family, or the imperial family, because they're emperors, but they go by Tsar and Tsarina. So I don't know when that changes, but because Catherine was an empress, so I don't know.
I think that was more like her preference.
I don't know. Anyway, so she has another miscarriage. The imperial family starts to worry, and they invite doctors from all over the country, and I think probably neighboring countries, and they invite mystics to come to the castle to help the Tsarina, I don't know how you say it, the lady conceive a boy. So in 1904, Alexandra finally gave birth to their fifth and final child, a son named Alexei. So they had a baby. They finally had an heir. He had the 1001 freaking vowels or whatever he got. So everyone is ecstatic. Even the girls are so excited to have a brother. They all seemed, the children seemed very, very close, and I think that the Russian people really liked the children because they would be on boats and stuff, and they would go, they would cruise on ships all the time, and they would spend the summers on these boats, and all of the soldiers and stuff were smitten with the girls, and they loved carrying the
princesses around,
little prince around. Yeah, they loved hanging out with them. So the family was super, super happy. Everybody loved each other. The family spent a lot of time together, which in those days was kind of rare because normally the kids would be sent off to have a nursery, a nursemaid, or someone like that, and the Alexandra and Nicholas were very much no, these are our children. We're going to raise them. We're going to take care of them. So, Alexandra wouldn't let the children have a wet nurse. So it was common practice for wealthy people to hire someone to breastfeed their children because it was considered unseemly, which I don't understand why, but it was. And she was like, no, we are... she nursed her own babies. And then it wasn't very long after Alexei's birth that they realized that he had hemophilia, which is a bleeding disorder. Your blood doesn't clot, basically, and any, you could cause internal bleeding from any bump, bruise could cause bleeding. And they found out because his umbilical cord wouldn't heal.
Ugh.
His belly button kept bleeding. And so they found out that he had the dreaded disease of hemophilia. And many royal family members have that disease, especially ones that come from
Catherine and Alfred.
Queen Victoria.
Victoria!
Not Catherine. Catherine was not alive.
Victoria and Albert.
So, a lot of their children, because there was so much inbreeding within the families, sorry to say, but Prince Philip and Queen Elizabeth were first cousins. They were both grandchildren of, or they were second cousins. They were cousins. So there was a lot of inbreeding amongst royal families, and so it was prevalent, and Alexandra would have been a carrier, and I think it affects males more than females. So they were really worried about him. It's hemophilia is also called the royal disease. He was often confined to a bed, and he didn't really get to do much. He didn't get to like ride horses or anything dangerous, because that any amount of injury could kill him. Alexandra was also pretty sickly after all of her pregnancies. She was pregnant at least 7 times with 5 live births, so she kind of became sickly and sad, I guess. So Alexandra was worried about Alexei's illness and was a religious fanatic, so she hired Grigory Rasputin to help heal Alexei. He was a Russian mystic from the countryside.
Weird guy.
It would almost, like, I might do a TikTok about him or something, because he seems really creepy, but I didn't really want to spend too much time on him in this, but it might be worth looking at. He seems creepy, and I'll put some pictures up. Like, his pictures are scary. Like, he's a scary guy, and nobody liked him. Like, nobody in the court liked him, and everyone was like, can we not?
That guy's weird.
Yeah.
Can we get him out of here?
So the Russian population was, like, pissed that they brought in Rasputin. They called him a charlatan, and in 1916 he was murdered.
Murdered?
Yeah.
Or executed?
He was murdered. The nobles didn't like the influence that he had over Alexandra, because she was, like, gung-ho about Rasputin.
How was he murdered?
I don't know. I didn't look into that too much. Like I said, I didn't spend too much time on him. So the family lived a happy life for a long time. They, like, spent almost all of their time together, and the parents doted on the children, and the children loved the parents and the siblings and their, like, little group of maids and, like, the close staff that was with them.
Coming down.
Conflict was starting to brew because World War I came into effect, so they were, like, fighting or whatever. World War I happened, and people were not happy with how Nicholas was handling things. In March of 1917, I don't know when World War I starts or ends, but I know it's in, like, the 19-teens. In 1917, Nicholas was forced, in March, he was forced to abdicate his throne and Alexei's throne, and the family was confined to their castle.
14 to 18.
1914 to 18. So they were confined to their castle at all times, guarded by guards, but they were allowed, like, outdoors time, and they could talk to and they were, like, still allowed.
Their 1 hour a day outside.
Yeah, well, they were still allowed a lot of privileges, and then slowly, as things started to change, they slowly started taking away privileges. So they weren't allowed to go outside anymore, they couldn't spend money, they couldn't, everything was slowly shrinking. Even their household was shrinking, like, the amount of servants they had and all of that stuff. So, and they were guarded at all times by armed guards, which the girls kind of flirted with the guards, because they were all in their 20s at this point. Well, not the youngest, not Anastasia, but the oldest 2 for sure were, like, in their 20s, and then I think the younger 2 girls were, like, teenagers, and then Alexei was, like, 13 or something. Sure, probably not even that. I don't know how old Alexei was. Well, he was born in 02.
So he'd be like 15.
He'd be like 15. So they'd all be kind of late teens. But the 2 older girls, there was a couple of, like, flirtations, and they wanted to, like, they had some boyfriends and stuff, and they wanted, like, one of the girls was really infatuated with a guard, like a soldier, and they kind of, the family kind of sent him away to marry someone else, type situation. So then in 1918, the family was sent to live in Siberia, under house arrest in Ekaterinburg, something like that. The family lived there for a little while. They were happy to be together. Like, Alexandra and Nicholas did everything they could to keep them together. They're like, we are not separating.
We're going to live together in Siberia.
Yeah, they're like, where we go, the kids go. Where the kids go, we go. And on July 16th, so we're just past the anniversary, 1918, the family was ordered to dress and head to the basement. I think, if I'm remembering correctly, I think the parents had already been sent away at this point, like, a few days prior, and had already been executed.
Sure.
I think. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that they were executed separately. But then again, the burial seems fishy, so maybe they just didn't, maybe they executed them in the same area, but not in the house. I'm not sure, because they were all buried together. So, They sent them to the basement, and they were all lined up, including their staff, like some of their most loyal staff, and they were all shot. And then they just kept shooting into the basement, and accounts of this event say it was very chaotic, and bullets were flying everywhere and pinging off, like, the bricks.
So it wasn't, like, lined up, it was just shot toward them or at them.
So they were lined up, and then, like, a bunch of guards shot
into the room.
Idiots. So it was very chaotic, and...
If you're gonna kill him, have the balls to kill him.
Right. So then when the smoke cleared, because there was a lot of smoke, they had, like
muskets.
Shit guns. The smoke cleared, and the entire family and members of the staff were all shot. Some accounts claim that some of the girls were not dead yet. When the smoke cleared, they were... And then once the ones that they saw were not dead, they ran through with bayonets. But the girls had all sewn jewels into their corsets to escape, and because they needed a source of income, and they didn't want, like, the family jewels to be taken away or whatever. So they sewed these jewels, and some of them were like honkers. They sewed them into their corsets, and that acted as a bulletproof vest.
That's amazing.
So some of the girls, it kept some of the bullets from hitting them. They had all been shot, but maybe not all dead, and then eventually they were all ran through with the bayonets. Which is funny to think that in World War I they had bayonets still.
I know. They were still using swords.
I know, right? How weird. The bodies were then packed into a truck by the soldiers and taken to a field.
When did they find the jewels? Did they strip the bodies?
I'm sure that they did. They didn't say much about that. So they were found to be buried. All of this was done in the dead of night by secret, or like in secret. Nobody was allowed to know what was going on. Even the family didn't know until the very end, obviously. In the 1990s, the bodies of 9 people were found in the Ural Mountains near Ekaterinburg. And the bodies of Alexei and either Maria or Anastasia, they couldn't tell which girl it was.
Because similar ages.
Yeah. So those 2 bodies were not found in the mass grave. So for a long time, people thought that they had escaped. And there's stories, like, the movie Alexandra came from a rumor that, or Anastasia, the movie came from a rumor that she had escaped and she didn't die and she was going to come back to the throne.
Yeah. And she was going to come back and be like, hey, bitch, it's me.
So for a long time, I don't know why Alexei didn't have as much rumors. Maybe because he had hemophilia, so they didn't think that he would, like, survive. But because, especially in the 90s, when they found the bodies, they thought that maybe she had escaped. So that rumor went on. Well, I think even before that, people had thought that she maybe had escaped. And then in 2007, so really not that long ago, 2 partially burned bodies were found near the mass grave, like a couple yards, or like maybe 100 yards away or something like that. And DNA tests determined that those bodies were the bodies of Alexei and Anastasia or Maria, whichever one is gone, or whichever one was missing. So, and that was just in 2007, and there was a documentary on YouTube that I watched about it. It was a National Geographic documentary, but I'll send like a, I'll post in the comment, or in the...
It was on...
notes, the thing.
It was on Netflix?
No. It was on YouTube. I found it on YouTube, but it was a National Geographic documentary, and I'll post the link in the notes below. So for nearly 100 years, rumors spread that Anastasia escaped, and many people came out of the woodwork to say that they were the lost princess.
Obviously.
The most well-known imposter was Anna Anderson, who was a German woman who was pulled from a canal after a failed suicide attempt, and the failed suicide attempt happened in 1920. So even shortly after their deaths, they were already rumors that the girls had, or that she had ran away, or gotten away. Because there was like an account, I guess one of the guards had maybe mentioned something about one of the girls not being dead, in the truck or whatever. So Anna Anderson was found in a canal. They pulled her out after a suicide attempt. And then she was sent to an asylum where she told all of the patients she was a princess. And then in 1927, the brother of Alexandra, so the mom, the uncle, investigated her claim and found out she was a Polish woman with a history of mental illness. So she was not Anastasia, even though her name was Anna. She had a good claim to it, but not a good claim to it. She didn't have a good claim to it at all, but she had a good story to tell. But yeah, so she's one of the. There was a couple other ones. She's the most famous one, the most like where they were like, oh, this actually could be her. But it's all kind of tragic, obviously, because the entire family died, and then I know that I think it's one of the Georges of the England reign looks exactly like Nicholas.
Really?
I'll put a picture of both of them. I'll have to figure out which George it is, but they look, and they call them cousin kings, and they were very close with the British family. I didn't mean to. I don't know how they were connected other than Victoria, but I don't know how he was connected to the British family.
Nicholas?
Yeah. I'd have to look into that more. Ow, 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 ow! There's a cat behind me, and she's
Somebody
biting
come take
me.
these cats.
She doesn't even have claws. Denny, could you leave me alone? Anyway, yeah, I thought it was an interesting story. I really liked the book that I read. It read really easy. I'll put a picture up, but yeah, I thought it was interesting.
I think it's also interesting anytime there's like a lost king, queen, prince, whatever, people come out of the woodwork. I have a specific person in mind, but I cannot think of who it is.
Back to the Russia thing, because this is relevant also. Catherine, once, I can't remember exactly how it happened, but Catherine's husband, Peter the Third or whatever, he became emperor, and later he was, I don't know how he died, but he was killed and she became emperor or empress.
There was a coup.
Yeah, she did a coup, and
he didn't die right away, but
yeah, I don't know what, I can't remember I literally just read that book and I can't remember what happened, but there was a coup and she took the throne, and then a few years later, a guy from the Cossacks came up and was like, I'm Peter. And there was like a revolution.
Yeah.
Like a rebellion, basically, that Catherine had to stamp out.
It happens all the time.
And caused a lot of issues, so. Kind of like the Princes in the Tower.
That's what I was thinking. Every once in a while they creep that up.
Right. Not anymore, obviously, but they would be like, oh, I was the prince in the tower, and then they try and get power and stuff, and it doesn't really work out for them most of the time, but. Yeah, I thought, for some reason, I've just been on a Russian kick. I really don't know
really
why.
Interesting.
I don't know much about Russia, so it's kind of interesting to learn. But I didn't know we had this one. I might read this, but I've been on a Russia kick. So you got Anastasia and the Romanovs. But yeah, sometimes you see the I thought this was funny. Not funny, but interesting. Sometimes you see Romanov as Romanov, and sometimes you see it as Romanoff, which I think is interesting.
Maybe one is more of an English spelling, one is more of a Russian.
Yeah, I don't know, but they also have like different naming conventions in Russia, because I was looking it up, because they would call them like
they have a lot of diminutive names.
Yeah,
so like you have your name, and then like Catherine or Katerina, and then you go by Katya, or you go by
even last names. So like Alexandra wasn't called, like, Nicholas's last name wasn't technically Romanov, it was Fyodorovich or something. It's called a patronym, and you use like your last name. So if you're kind
of like even the Windsor is the last name of the, but it's not the real last name.
So let me tell, here, it's in here somewhere. So Catherine the Great's son was named Paul, and his dad was Peter. So his name is Paul Petrovich. It means little Paul.
Oh, it's kind of like Erickson or Leifson or...
Yeah, it's really interesting,
the son of...
Yeah. And then if you're a woman, it's like, it would be Petrova. Mm-hmm. I think that's so interesting. So, I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
because I Googled it. I was like, why do they have all of these, like, little names? But their last name, so they have their first name, and then their patronym, which is the name of their father, and then they have like the family last name.
But then they also have like the diminutive forms of those names, like Katya for Catherine, and God, there's another one, but I can only think of Katya right now because of the song that she sings, "Read You Wrote You."
I love that song. I have that song stuck in my head all the time.
Me too.
Especially since reading this.
I listen to it probably, I don't know.
I do too. Katya's a drag queen.
Love her. Love Pink.
Yes. Anyway, that's all I have for today. I think our videos are probably going to start coming out on Wednesdays.
They're gonna come out.
Yeah,
When they
you'll
come
get them
out. You guys
eventually.
relax. It'll be fine. Nobody cares. Also, I haven't looked. Are we at 50 yet?
I think we were at 47.
That's been like forever since we've been at 47.
I haven't looked in a long time.
Let's look. Oh, still 47.
But that's fine.
We'll
Anyway.
get over it.
That's all I have for today. So like and subscribe. Do all
We're
the
on
things.
TikTok. We're on Spotify.
Yeah,
Those History
TikTok,
Twins.
Spotify, Those History Twins. My friend just made fun of me today for saying do all the things. She was like, I watched your video and she said, do all the things. And then I was like, she said, like Kelly says, do all the things. So do all the things that you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
All the things that the people say to do. Anyway, that's all
Also,
I have.
always comment topics you want because it's hard to find one every week. So, and like, I don't know what's gonna be interesting or not interesting. So,
Right.
comment things you have.
All right. You guys have a great time. Love life and carry on. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Bye.